Muhammadu Buhari's directive on litigations. Drag party to court over dissolution of Oshomole-led NWC. Supreme Court decides on constitutionality of virtual court proceedings tomorrow. Page 4. You have the picture of the Yobe State Governor left with Managing Director of Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, after a meeting in Abuja just yesterday. Beside the picture, experts warn against impact of Naira devaluation on 2020 budget, say it may trigger fuel price hike and worsen inflation. Why revised budget was increased, the presidency is given the explanation. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 4. On page 15 below the picture, federal government hands over National Theatre to CBN Bankers Committee. And the bottom strip stories on Magu, anti-graft war may suffer setback. Global coalition cautions. Page 7. While on page 10, Aisha Buhari urges government to commit funds to end malnutrition. On page 2, Air Peace evacuates 300 Nigerians from Asia. And on that same page, Interpol arrests 3 suspects over COVID-19 palliative scam. Alright, we go to the stories below the masthead now. On page 5, maritime operators list benefits of secured Anchorage area. Warn against boycott. And my approval for vessel auction legal. That is coming from Malani. And on page 2, CBN and the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria brand to crash price of rice. And finally, from the leadership newspaper is the COVID-19 update as of July 12, 2020. Confirmed cases 32,558. Discharged patients 13,447. And the number of deaths 740 as given by the NCDC. And that is all from the leadership newspaper. Let's move on to the Daily Times. This time around, I'll start with the story just above the masthead. It says, time to clear NDDC mess. And that's an editorial on page 12. The lead story, Nigerians, FCTA differ on alleged land racketeering in Abuja. Page 2. And the picture, Nigeria's source of revenue, the Niger Delta. Alright, the story is below the picture. On business, Fairfax Africa, Helios Holdings partner to become leading continental asset manager. Page 17. While on the economy, private sector to get federal government 65 billion naira stimulus package. The story is on page 5. On corruption, Magu failed to account for 332 recovered property worth billions. The story is on page 4. And that is all from the Daily Times. Let's cross over to the Guardian newspaper now. The lead story. Federal government, states borrow more, crowd out private sector. Real sector faces tougher times. Economists see more value in local bonds. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 6. On pages 3, 5, and 7, Nigerians fight for economic balance as recession beckons. Akpabio, Nunye in fierce exchanges over NDDC's alleged 40 billion naira fraud. I don't tell you guide National Assembly, says Buhari. Resign now, Ondo Deputy Governor tells Assembly Speaker. And there you have this picture of the Nigeria's debt profile from 2014 till date. And it says debt in trillion naira. There you have a distribution pie chart showing how Nigeria accumulated 17.4 trillion naira debt in 6 years. In 2020, you have 1.2 trillion naira, which is 7% of the total debt. Let's move on now to the stories below the picture. Blame Tinubu, Akande, Fayemi if Southwest loses 2023 presidency. Okay. The kickers, it will be unfair to blame them alone, says YCE. Okoromu says we need restructuring, not presidency. While Aka Ikenga insists that next president should be Igbo. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 8. Again, you have the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria, as earlier seen on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. And that is all from the Guardian newspaper. Up next is the Punch. I'll start with the lead story. It says, seized properties cornered by top EFCC officials and Magu's friends. That's the panel's report. It says, suspect to account for 332 recovered houses. But his counsel says all allegations are lies, concocted to tarnish Magu's image. Who is telling the truth now? Well, get the Punch newspaper. You get the story on page 2. Then pictures you have is that of Okpako Bridge in Abuja, Ogun State, just yesterday. And that is not a good sight. The bottom strip stories now on pages 11, 12, and 11. And later on 8, 4, and 5, and 12. Wanted Ibadan 1 million boys leader killed in court war. NDDC reps prove 70 billion naira payment to non-performing 1,700 contractors. APC expects Ondo anti-impeachment lawmaker for anti-party activities. Lagos doctors begin strike over wage, amongst others. Fraudster detains American lady in Lagos hotel, defrauds her of 18.5 million naira. Federal government comments air peace as UK denies airline landing permits. So the story is now above the masthead. Page 39. Federal government. China finalizing negotiations on 43.24 billion naira Ibadan port. On page 39, federal government orders power project contractors back to sites. I didn't campaign for Buhari while with Jonathan. And guess who's talking? Dasuki, page 22. And finally, from the Punch newspaper, petrol subsidy gulped 101.6 billion naira in 3 months, says NNPC, page 33. And that is all from the Punch front page. Let's look at the front page of the Nation newspaper now. I like to start with the stories just above the masthead. It says bankers 25 billion naira revival appeal for National Theatre. 10,000 jobs coming. Page 29. Again, you have the same story of the leader of 1 million boys gang shot dead in Ibadan. Page 8. On pages 2 and 3, $2.8 billion AKK project, rekindling economic hope. Ijo Ishekiri threaten government. And on Edo 2020, why is Yamu will be elected governor by Obadan? Obaseki deserves re-election, says head of service. Governor will face defeat on September 19. Let us watch and see. Page 7. And the lead story, why US, UK others are monitoring Magu's probe. Concern about allegations. Probe process. Fair hearing. Anti-graft campaign. 550 billion naira recovered fund in TSA, says EFCC boss. Malami defends crude oil seas. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 12. On page 29, Glow Smartphone Festival back with better benefits. Minister of Youth and Sports, Minister of Information and Culture, handing over the National Theatre facilities to Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN Governor, and Lagos State Governor in Lagos yesterday. COVID-19 global cases now, 12,978,891. Deaths, 569,901. And recovered cases, 7,559,218. The story below the picture. More dust in Ondo over Deputy Governor Ajayi. Home APC local government chapter asked him to quit government. Appeal. House rejects call for speaker's exit. Story on page 12. The bottom strip stories on pages 29 and 2. CBN and the Rifles 36,000 bags of rice hit markets. Sowonlu, Tinubu, Mon, lawmaker. And that is all from the Nation newspaper. Viewers, and still to come, we have This Day, Nigerian Tribune, Business Day newspapers to check out their headlines, and also sports updates. But that's in a moment. Please stay with us.
For if we know him, and we feast and live on his word, and his spirit confirms inside of us, our works will be exactly the same as the works of Jesus. Exactly the same. And Jesus even makes a bigger claim on us. And greater than these will you do. Peter was careful to explain to Cornelius. He said, you all heard the things that Jesus did when he was amongst us. For everywhere he went, he was doing good. So how come children of the church are doing bad, evil? How come? How come? Where did we learn that from? How come we segregate? How come we steal, we cheat, we lie? How come we are following men and not following God? How come our focus is what we can get, not what God can give? Where did we learn that from? Our faith is in God, in Christ, baptized by the Holy Spirit, that we may do good works.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the newspaper headlines live from the ACNN studios in Abuja. For more on our catch-up programs, please visit our social media platforms, all showing on the screen. And do well to download the VM Africa app or Prime TV or WeTV Africa on any app store to watch us on the go. ACNNTV is now available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV. And now to the rest papers. This Day newspaper is next, and it says, revealed. Magu failed to submit EFCC audited accounts for 4 years. Annual report not submitted to National Assembly in 4 years, contrary to law. Ribadu, Farida, Lamode in full compliance. SAN seeks bail for suspended anti-corruption chief. Alright, the story is on page 36. APC governors, party leaders meet over Edo election tomorrow. Another chieftain challenges caretakers' legitimacy in court. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 37. The picture is tagged Revamping National Monument. Again is the picture during the handover of the National Theatre facilities to the CBN and Bankers Committee for Revamping and Development in Lagos yesterday. The bottom strip story, Ondo Assembly returns to drawing board over Deputy Governor's removal, page 5. And the story is above the masthead, CBN, banks commit 25 billion naira to National Theatre, orders upgrade. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 36. And lastly, from this day newspaper on page 8, National Assembly gets revised petroleum industrial bill in 2 weeks, says Silva. And that is all from this day newspaper. Nigerian Tribune is next. Let's start with the lead story. 1,773 NDDC contractors allegedly abscond with mobilization fees. How possible? The Commission got 219 queries from Auditor General's office. Reps quiz Commission over 70.495 billion naira awarded contracts. Page 3. Again is the picture during the official handover of the National Theatre facilities to the CBN and Bankers Committee for Revamping in Lagos yesterday. On pages 423, military airstrikes kills scores of bandits in Zamfara forest. APC chieftain files suit to challenge dissolution of NWC. Northern Speakers Forum wants Northern Speakers Forum wants quick implementation of states' legislative autonomy. Vessels action. My approval legal. That's coming from Malami. How Magu turned a glorified police station. That's the report on pages 3 and 27. And Falana says, Magu did not launder loot through me. Okay. The stories below the masthead, just above the lead story, 43.2 billion naira Ibadan dry port concession. Arrangement nears completion, federal government, on page 26. And on that same page, equities market loses 15.5 billion naira in 5 days. While on page 8, Lagos doctors begin 3 days warning strike today. This story is above the masthead. Why 2020 budget was increased despite low revenues? Presidency, page 3. How security forces killed a Bila, Ibadan's 1 million boys gang leader, page 4. And lastly, from the Nigerian Tribune on page 29, parents, teachers may meet Education Minister today on 2020 West African School Certificate Examination. And for the business lovers, it's business day now. All right, you have the business day market monitor. And the lead story is CBN taps cash reserve ratio debit as backdoor of piling OMO. That is the open market operations cost. The story begins on the front page. And the big picture is that of Zainab Ahmed Wright, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, during the virtual public consultative forum presentation of the MTEF 2021-2023. On our left is Ben Akabweze, Director of Budget Office of the Federation, and other members of the minister's team. On page 2, It's the inside story. Infracosa waits NCC's 65 billion naira subsidy after right-of-way reduction from 7 states. And coronavirus is the killer. PPE shortage is the catalyst. Investigation Part 2. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 30. And that is all from the business day. And for the sports lovers, here is the sports update. England Premier League. Wolverhampton Wanderers 3. Everton 0. Aston Villa 2. Crystal Palace 0. Tottenham Hotspur 2. Arsenal 1. AFC Bournemouth 4. Leicester City 1. Italy Serie A. Genoa 2. Spal 0. Cagliari 0. Lecce 0. Fiorentina 1. Hellas Verona 1. Parma Calcio 2. Bologna 2. Udinese 1. Sampdoria 3. SSC Napoli 2. AC Milan 2. For the Russia Premier League, Lokomotiv Moscow 1. FC Ufa 1. CSKA Moscow 1. Robin Kazan 1. Dynamo Moscow 2. Kryazoventov Samara 0. FC Orenburg 0. FC Rostov 0. FC Krasnodar 3 versus Ural 0. Then Spain La Liga, Espanyol 0 versus Eibar 2. Levante 1, Athletic Bilbao 2. Leganés 1, Valencia 0. And finally Sevilla 2 and Mallorca 0. Alright, and that's all from the sports update. So viewers, that's so much we could take on the program. We want to thank you so much for watching. I may remind you that if we say we love God, but hate our brothers and sisters, guess what? We are liars. For people cannot love God whom they have not seen if they do not love their brothers and sisters whom they have seen. Wednesday is the next edition of the program, and we will be back before you know it. Until then, it's bye for now, and God bless.
How do I get tested?